when we got to the camp, it was actually like there's a picture of all of us when Kenny was calling us up, and we were all like spaced out because
Right.
none of us talked before, and it was all like weird. And then like we all stayed at the same hotel, and then we started talking, and I remember having to do Spanish homework. And Eleanor came down and was sitting with me and talking to me. So when everyone else was swimming, we were sitting in there and doing homework and like talking. And I remember walking outside with Luke and Cade, and all of them were like talking about racing. And it's like we all race different cars, or a majority of us race different cars, and none of them really drove junior late models before.
Right.
So I remember getting a big question like, how's it feel? And it was in maybe midsummer, and it absolutely sucked because it has to be like the hottest time, mostly in Madeira. And with the juniors, they get really hot, mostly when the sun's beating down.
Right.
And with racing 70 laps, it gets like really hard. So I was like, we shouldn't worry too much about heat, which they did take care of us good.
So you got chosen.
Mm-hmm.
You got to drive a state-of-the-art car. And what did you tell your dad?
I told him that we needed to get one.
You said something new about, you said,
I remember Mike
you told
asking
Mike, you
me,
said...
Mike was asking me, how's it feel? I was like, way better than mine.
And I think you said, my dad has a lot of work to do.
Well, okay, so with his car, I remember it starting to feel loose, and I told Mike, and he told me something, and so I did it, and then like it adjusted like so fast, like you could feel it, like in the car, like it wanted to do what you needed it to do.
Right.
And it would go wherever.
So, going back to that earlier question of aggressiveness, if you had a car that could do what you wanted it to do, I would imagine it might make you a lot easier to do what you felt like you needed to do to get up front or stay up front or whatever, versus dealing with a car that isn't handling exactly the way you want. I would imagine would make your job easier.
With my Yank's car or something similar to that, maybe like the one we have now with Buddy Shepherd.
And we're going to talk about that.
It's nice. But they're somewhat similar in that with maybe how many races they have on. Buddy's obviously has more because they're a little bit older, but I've never driven the newer one, but I remember driving Mike's car and it was like on point and it wanted to do exactly what you needed it to. And Mike told me before I got in the car, he's like, just tell us how it feels. And of course I said it felt better than mine. But it like, even like going up to the wall and like learning the new line or how much to brake, it was perfect. And I remember asking a couple members out of the Naake-Klauer Motorsports what the gauge was for, because it would go from yellow, green to red. Yeah. And it always, like, it flashed red when I got off the gas. I was like, I want to know what that's for, because my gauge doesn't do that. So when I was asking them, they said there's a ton of different types, and it's just telling you that you're accelerating. So, like, maybe, like, if you were on the gas and, like, maybe let off, like, it's telling you. Right. Which I did drive Tony's car, and it was, like, even, like, the shifter, it was different from mine. And I was kind of confused on that. So, Mike has tape on his. Okay. Thankfully, because I would have been lost. But, like, everything in the car, like, helped. And I remember they pulled in the car. Joey pulled in the car, and, like, Mike walked with me and was talking to me about it. And they said I had maybe, like, the perfect time to practice and, like, test drive the car. Right. Because it was right, I would get out of the car, and then they would be having lunch. And I remember I didn't eat much that day because we'd have the classes. Right. And eating, like, even on race days, I don't eat. Yeah. Because, like, I feel if I need to eat and I feel like I might get sick, then I'll eat a little bit. Like, I'm not going to eat a ton. Right. And then risk getting sick or, like, my stomach hurting. because when your adrenaline like starts pumping, like I know getting out of the car at halfway break, it gives me headaches.
Yeah.
And getting out of the car when we were at the junior camp, it gave me a headache because we would go from like maybe it not being so hot to almost 110 degrees.
Yeah.
And I remember everyone like coming down and like saying it's like hot, and I was like, it's not that hot, but it is pretty hot. Like from them coming down, I mean England, like I guess it is hot here.
Oh yeah. Quite a
And
bit.
like I remember talking to Grant Thompson's dad on the October 5th race, and he was all like, it kind of feels the same. Like, it's not that much different. But the October 5th race, it wasn't that hot.
Right.
I mean, it had its moments in the day. It was maybe like midday
Yeah.
when it got up to maybe like 95 degrees.
Yeah.
But
No.
it's not 110.
No, it wasn't like that.